Oh wow, I'm live now. I haven't been live on YouTube ever. Yeah, I just wanted to share, inspired by Fred actually. Um, Now feeling self-conscious, self-conscious, self-aware. That's an interesting two different words that's pointing to the same thing but experienced completely different. Yeah, I just felt like I needed to be here and share with whoever is watching. I think this time is very interesting. I just got news that a friend, a young girl we know, got just got cancer. Another day of crying a little bit and just sorrowing, I guess, which seems to be the theme of 2020. Part of it, just dying, death, and rebirth, I guess. And there's always hope at the end of a dark tunnel. So maybe talk a little bit about that. And just share my experience and some perspectives. Yeah, if you're watching this, you probably know me as some guy on YouTube, or maybe a dating coach or persona in that personal development field, which is a cool hobby, an interesting thing to engage in. But I realized after chasing for the pot of gold in some experience or personal relationship or objects that I already am what I'm seeking. And I mean that figuratively, metaphorically, and literally. So I think is the only relevant theme that makes sense for me to talk about. Maybe point two is an understanding of what I'm seeing, what I'm waking up to, and becoming, I guess, is a good word. And when I say I, there's this character running around on this earth that's really the illusion. The real I is so much more than that, so much bigger and abundant. I think a lot of us in these times have gotten a shock, either a slow shock or a sudden shock of the carpet being pulled or the rug pulled underneath us, and just waking up to the fact that we're never gonna get what we seek. It's actually a I don't know, what do I call that? It's actually against its own will, if that makes sense. It's like running after our own tail. It seems like that's what we do. We place importance in objects, in material stuff, in whatever looks to be out there, outside of our head, or even our head, our body, our relationships. We identify with a body and a mind, and then the seeking begins. And this happens so subconscious or fast or subtle that most of the time, for most of us, we don't recognize it, we don't see it. So we place our feelings and our, I guess that I'd call it frustrated seeking, this chasing down every temporary high of getting the next Yeezy or getting laid, or getting to that place. And we don't realize that we are life. We are life. It's. And I'm not talking about some abstract idea. I'm talking about this very moment here, right now, and this whatever we sense is a projected. It's the I. It's the activity of God, of consciousness, of life, of awareness, of the thing that's outside of our intellect. That's before the intellect. Before the intellect, there's a knowing. Formlessness turning into form. And then we place meaning on that form. And then we place meaning on that meaning. And we create causes and effects and stories. And all of a sudden, non-duality has become not only dual, but like an infinite mirror in like the in an elevator. Like there's infinite just echo of beliefs, and then we re-engage in those beliefs, and then we reaffirm those beliefs, and not only beliefs like superstitions, convincement. We are convinced, and then we do that again and again and again and again, and we affirm our beliefs so many times that they seemingly become real. They seemingly become the law. And now all of a sudden something is wrong, and then something is right. And then we think we have to do the right thing and avoid doing the wrong things. And we play slowly, subconsciously, brick by brick, make a prison for ourselves, forgetting who we really are, forgetting that we're infinite potential, turning into form. We're infinite potential, kind of forming. We're consciousness humaning. And we take things personally. This character right here takes things very personally. I'm I'm afraid. I'm afraid right now. I'm doing this, you know, talking to other seeming separate beings. This separate being here is buying into me being real, and then buying into the idea that I need to be good enough for you to accept me. And I guess that's why I'm doing it, and hopefully connecting on a deeper level on truth. And I'm really just talking to myself. And that's the cosmic joke. That's what everyone's been saying throughout the ages of time. All the mystics and, you know, religious leaders or philosophers. You know, your soul is your highest self. That's who we are. That's who we've always been. I am. When we remember that we're connected, when we remember that we're God, and I don't mean that personally, I don't mean that I am God, I mean we are God. We are the allness, we are the isness, we are love. But the human experiences love as finite and conditional. So the thing is, we believe love is conditional and finite, and then we buy into the belief, as if the belief ever was real. And then we think we need to do stuff in order to get to the infinity, to the unlimited, to the conditionless love, the unconditional love. But the reality is that before the seeking, that's who we were in the beginning. I mean, not only that's who we are, that's this moment, an infinite moment that's passing really fast. And that's why it's also this words that are coming out might sound counteractive or like I'm talking against myself, and I kind of am. Like, my words are just bullshit. They're the echo of love. So they're not bullshit in that way, but in a sense of it being in the world of dualism, in the world of form, it is going to be either or. It's going to be a up or down. It's going to be a blue or yellow. It's going to seem like it is something. Yeah. You know, it's kind of how we navigate as humans. We're like, because we're so lost oftentimes, it's like we're like, oh, you said this and now you're saying this, and they don't go together. That's how we experience life, right? Like we're experiencing life as kind of dual. So it's gonna look like, you know, we're forgetting what's the undercurrent. forgetting. It doesn't matter. These are just words. They're all stories. They're all stories. Everything is a story. And then there's newness in the moment. I think that's so important to remember. I mean, it's not important. Nothing is, but everything is. So, but seeing that everything is a story and seeing that we're bringing on a luggage of a story, of a belief, of a certain form, like who we think we are, not who we really are, but who we think we are. That can, you know, the patterns of thoughts that we have created through our experiences and created meaning in as well our experiences, and just created a lot of meaning that really is open for interpretation in any moment. Like we can change our minds right now. That's the beauty. That's the secret, you know. We can wake up. We already are woke. It's like suffering really just is the misunderstanding of the presence almost. It's like resisting what is because we're holding on to the past or the future, ambitions, goals, our relationships, holding on, you know, not realizing we're strangling ourselves, you know. We're just holding on, and we're not realizing, you know, it's me. So I look at Alex Gray's paintings, and you kind of see like the body is kind of turning into the environment as well. To illustrate the inside out nature of reality, the truth that we are what we perceive. That's why nothing can hurt you. Nothing can hurt us. Really, like, we're not our body. I can see there's a person watching. What's happening? And thank you for the thumb up. I feel the love. I feel 100% less lonely. That's how we do, yeah. Go in and out of insecure thinking, formed as either contraction, you know, anger, jealousy, just being afraid, and just buying into the fear that there is anything to fear. Fear is like the ego, it's like the body, it's like just a contraction of truth. If you have truth, it'll be outside of our understanding. You know what I mean? We understand it inherently, and then we have our mind, who is kind of the physical manifestation of formlessness, and they don't go together, you know. Yeah, there's you can't you can't contain the container. That's a Jim Carrey quote. Like, you can't both have like infinite and container. It can't, you know what I mean? Like, so the finite and the infinite really just is. They're one. They're not two. They're one. That's the secret. That's it. Like, this is it. This is it. This life, this moment, this right here, back to here. That's what happens when we start letting go of the full materialistic matrix illusion of the world, of the search, of the, oh, I need to make 10 grand this month. Well, that's a goal I actually have. And the funny thing is, I wrote this goal up and I made some fun. It just felt right. It wasn't like a very strong searching. It was just like, yeah, you know, why not try it? You know, have fun with it. And I haven't. And it's been for the first time I'm in my life, I think, because I've set goals in my life so many times, and this is the first time it's ever been like, fuck it, why not type of energy, instead of I need to get these goals so that I can feel a certain way. Well, now it's more like, oh, it'd be useful for me to have this money in order to create for others and to switch. So I'm just a channel of love, of creation, and let's see if it happens. And it's more like sometimes it seems important, other times it don't, but definitely understanding it all just is, and there's no, it's not gonna be better to be over there than it is to be here. Here is the only thing that has ever existed. Ever. And that's when we forget that, we go to war. We go to searching. We're running for our tail, and if we can't catch the tail, we run faster. You know, we go on the power trip of being the master of a runner of our own tail. And it's subtle because every mystic and like the books, like Conversations with God, or Sydney Banks, or Muji, or Sam the Magic Genie, which is a book by Brian Main. He's a good friend and an awesome guy. Marianne Williamson, you name them, they're all pointing to the true power of who we are, the truth of who we are. You know, Marianne Williamson says, like, our deepest fear is that it's not that we're inadequate, it's that we're powerful beyond measure. So she is actually pointing to fear and infinite potential, like powerful beyond measure. You know, it's like, I had a spiritual experience once, and it was on. There was a statue. I was with friends, etc., and then kind of the heaven opened up for me over this statue, and I don't know how to explain it other than it just opened up in like purple, pink, blue. It was every color, and a feeling that arose in me that was kind of feeling like exponential. The feeling was good, like better than good. It was abundance in, or ecstasy is a good word for it. And then it kind of ecstasy, and it arose exponentially until I got afraid. So it was so powerful that I got afraid for it. You know, and that's what the mind does. That's what the mind does. You know, we're conditioned to fear, to contraction. And that's, you know, innocently what happens when we get exposed to our true power. Is, you know, that's why we don't greet strangers on the street. That's why we don't dance around on the street every day, as we did when we were kids. You know, we weren't conditioned in the same way that we're now, where we're supposed to do this and we're supposed to do that, and this is right and this is wrong, whilst forgetting that it's all a matrix. It's all, it's a veil. It's don't mind the guy behind the curtain. We forget to think ourselves, you know, and resonate. What does our heart really say? Who are we? I think, you know, you can look, if you look underneath the superficial current, you're gonna see that most movies, most really good movies, they point to this. People resonate with this. You know, The Truman Show, Inception, Matrix, Fight Club. I can name so many movies. Lion King. They're all pointing to this innate power, this, that who we really are, where we're from, the illusion of life, what this is, what this looks like. The idea of that I am a character, that I am a body, that I am a head. It's and it's not like a, the funny thing is not, it's not a juicy, popular, clickbaity, sensational, tabloid, you know, trip. Truth is just silence. It's the knowing in the unknown. It's between the lines of form. It is what you've always known. It's what you've always known. It's the creativity. It's the creative force. It's where you're at when you're freestyling and you've forgotten who you are. You've forgotten time and space. You're immersed in the story, and you take nothing personally anymore because you're not a person. You're just in tune with life unfolding. I think that's, you know, that's what Mother Nature, that's what's happening these days. A true paradigm shift. It's like we haven't had the real leverage to have to look in this direction in the same manner as we do today with this whole 2020. It's funny that it's in 2020, I think. Isn't that, I think the term 2020, I've never like really Googled it or whatever, but to me it means that everything's a two-edged sword, you know? Like Louis C.K. says that you can find truth and wisdom in comedy, 100%. It's a reason it's called It's Funny Because It's True. And you can find wisdom everywhere. When you start unveiling the illusion of life, you find wisdom everywhere. You find love everywhere. Yeah. Mm-hmm. This is nice. I understand that I need to do this more. I like it. Just, yeah. It just makes sense. It just makes sense. I can't not speak my truth anymore. Like, you know. I have a huge ego. I'm super insecure, and you know, I can't. There's no way to continue to bullshit myself anymore. I think that's what 2020 is gonna teach me. You know, we don't have to be afraid. We don't have to. We're powerful beyond measure. There is no even. We don't have to be afraid for death. Like we don't. We really don't. We can, but it's also important to acknowledge. I'm not saying I'm not afraid of dying, because I think I am. Sometimes not. I don't know. As it's the unknown, you know. I think that's the one thing we all share. I think that relates to COVID as well, as you know. Apparently, life is happening like this now. You know, a lot of souls are vanishing, and a lot of people are feeling sad. And I know I've been crying more tears in 2020 than in a long time. But it's also a relief, you know. It's a letting go. It's a vanishing of. I mean, we're not our bodies. That's the thing. We really aren't. And the ego, the mind, the head, the body, the intellect, whatever you want to call it, immediately claims who we are. We identify, you know, and you could be like, I mean, fine, it is fine. I mean, life is what it is, and we will experience life as dual, as a separate being. But knowing that it isn't will help you fly and walk on this earth more lightly. It's not that you're not going to be hurt or sad or angry or have feelings. It's just that you're going to be more resilient. You're going to have a whole broader specter of life and color and more present, and you know, more present. See, words again, you know. There's no more or less present. There's presence. It's happening now. There's nowness. That's it. It's not even anything special about it, let alone our ego. I guess this is my ego death, is part of 2020, and this, me doing this to because there's self, you know, the self, it's just selfing. That's what this selfing all the time. We're always selfing. I. We think that the I is the body, the head. It isn't. It really isn't. I'm gonna repeat that forever and ever, forever, ever, forever, ever. I mean, it's the only relevant question in this life is, who are we? We're an activity of life. It's almost like, sometimes I feel like drawing, it makes you more able to describe. It's like this. It's like it's just it's still gonna be form. it's still not gonna be the formless essence of who we are, but I kind of look at it like this sometimes. It's like consciousness, we're an activity of consciousness. We're a verb, not an object. All right? You know? So as soon as we feel bad, for example, we first have to identify with the idea that we're a person. So identification is the number one step for suffering. You know, who is suffering is a relevant question. Who is sad? Who is angry? Who is searching? Who is not getting their will? Or who is not who is jealous? Who is not having what the others have? Who is this, you know? And so it's more of a taken away, you know? It's all bullshit. Like, start here, right now, and then ask yourself, who am I? Who are we? Who is experiencing this? Who is who believes, right? Who's believing? And then seeing that we're not the person, we're not the character, we're not the action figure, we're not the flesh vehicle, we're not the body. It just seems like we are. And that seeming is where the rubber meets the road, kind of. You can't suffer unless you identify as a person. I think that's the kind of, maybe it's a thick word to call it a sickness, but you know, what's happening in 2020, man? It's like, let's be real, you know? Consciousness doesn't care about, it just is. There's isness. There's no right or wrong, left or right, up and down, you and me. That's the veil, or that's the illusion. That's you know, like, you can't look at your own eyes. You have to go to a mirror. You have to, you know, and kind of create a projection. That's a projection. That's not essence. So I think essence is what we need. That's not true either, but because we already are essence. There's no getting to an essence. We're always selfing. It's so easy. We're thinking. Not only are we identifying with ourselves, but usually we're also thinking about ourselves. So that's like two layers in the illusion, and it's like we're in the illusion. It's like being in the Matrix, creating a theater of someone drawing an image. That's kind of how many layers we're into, usually into to the personification of separateness, you know? We think we're separate. We think we're separate. But really we are thought. It's all thought. It's like Sydney Banks called it the missing link, you know? When you see that we're all thought. I mean thought in a universal sense. This whole world is thought generated. It's not even thought generated, it's just consciousness in form. We call it thought. But it's easy to kind of, or I think it's useful to kind of go in from a perspective of thought, because we think it's so easy to be engaged inside the content of our thinking. So I guess start eliminating there and be like, well, first of all, I think that's pretty easy to understand, that the thinking that we have is not real. We feel our thinking. So when you when you understand that, that's kind of the first step to, I feel, to kind of letting go of the stories that we buy into, you know? And I mean, as long as we're having fun, or, you know, as long as it makes sense to buy into the stories, if we feel expanding and loving, and it's a good feeling, and it just makes sense, so, you know, there's nothing wrong with it. There's never anything wrong with anything, it just is. So we buy into stories, apparently. And part of that is thinking. And knowing what it is, or remembering what it is, or even just for a glimpse, seeing that we are infinite first and then finite, you know, it opens up for it opens the valve of love. It kind of broadens the funnel, and now all of a sudden you're channeling, or you're in life more. You're there. You're here, not there. There's no here or there, but usually then you'll come back to yourself, you know. Remember who you are, why you're here, etc. Yeah. You know. And I go into my stories all the time, by the way, and you know, 500 times during the last 44 minutes I've gone into my stories and thinking that that's how experience looks, is that I'm a person, and my name is Morten, and that I'm relevant and important, which I am. Before that, I am. So it's like taken away, you know? We're taught that, like, yes, You're important. Yes. You know, you need to do this. You need to achieve that. It's like matter is matterless. They're all, you know. Yeah. LOL! Oh. Yeah, man. Don't listen to my words. There's a feeling between the words. There is a feeling underneath this art. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. I like to show you some of my paintings. Here is one that I made that I like. I'm not finished with it, but this is how it looks right now. And then I started drawing one just today, so you're watching a premiere of my latest little artwork, and I love it, to be honest. Let's see if you can see it, like there's some stuff up there. And there's obviously a big eye, and then that turned into a whale. So I feel like this paint, and this is turning into not squid but octopus. And to me it's a painting that's, I'm gonna call deep, I think, maybe deep wave or something, because to me it's obviously the eye is the all-seeing eye. It's just telling me, be careful in the right sense, like careful, like carefully, you know. And it's kind of, it turned into this being, you know, there's like a surface, the whale is there. Where's the whale? Yeah, there, whale, and an octopus, and it's like the deep ocean is watching us, and this is surface. There's a wave, there's a tsunami right now in this world, but I also like the, you know, the power, you know, there's the power and truth of I guess psilocybin mushroom, and this is a tree right here, so there's like, this is the surface, and just kind of, it's all love, nature, and you know, we're being watched. It's yeah, so that's something like that. Yeah, it reminds me of just being, taking care of Mother Earth, you know. The whale is a little, I wouldn't say sad, but concerning, maybe. Yeah, and remember to slow down, I guess, you know. The water in the depth are moving slower and more rich, if that makes sense, I feel. So yeah, so take care, do the, you know, take care. And I feel that's a great point to end this live stream, which has been my first one, and thank you for being here, and thank you for the thumb up. I think I am going to do more of these because it's a good practice for me, I feel, to just put words. I like words sometimes, and just do my part of loving. Yeah. Thank you. Orientation is locked. Rotate device back. Okay, YouTube. Okay, there we go. All right. Thanks again.